This is the MeteoMark Weather Show. Let's look at some viewer sent in photos. Ben Smith from the Manhattan area. Look at this. The East River showing signs pretty much of frozen over. Take a look at that, a very frozen river. And this is going to spell problems further down the road for many rivers in the northeast and eastern part of the United States as we get ice jams, probably the first time we get a thaw. However, I'm not expecting a thaw anytime soon with that polar vortex pretty much pinwheeling its way across the Great Lakes and portions of the eastern portion of the United States. Take a look at this. You got some nice, very, very frozen, like, it almost looks like frozen tundra, but it's the Manhattan area. So thank you, Ben Smith, for sending those photos in. That's a familiar scene across much of the Northeast. Let's take a look at, this is something Kate Nate sent in. Thanks for sending this in. It really is all relative. I mean, you look at, you look here at 50 degrees in Florida versus 50 degrees further up north. And as you can see, there's quite a difference here as our bodies make terrible thermometers. And this goes to show you how bad of a thermometer our body really is. Our body gets used to certain temperature trends. And this is the result. People in Florida, as opposed to people up north, view 50 degrees as very winter-like, whereas up north it's like a heat wave. That's exactly what's going on here. Thanks, Kate, for sending that in. It's good relation to the human body here. Let's take a look at the forecast for precipitation. Nothing much. A lot of you are asking, is there anything going to ever happen here in the Northwest? I don't see it here in the early to middle portion of February, but here back east, that got that very big trough, that polar vortex pinwheeling its way across, and this polar vortex doesn't want to go away anytime soon. Get those Alberta clippers, and that's where most of our moisture. I'm going to focus on the first part of the weekend and the latter portion of the weekend and early next week for two clipper systems that could drop advisory, winter weather advisory criteria snowfall. Let's take a look at that first clipper here across the northeast. We'll be looking at that clipper moving through. We'll get that we'll get some lake enhancement out of it. A lot of blowing and drifting snow in New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, portions of northern New England, extending down towards the Appalachians. That's where we could get some blowing and drifting snow. And that will continue on through the rest of the middle portion of the weekend. Let's look at those snowfall amounts here. Let me step off the map so you can pick out your location. Across much of the Great Lakes here, we'll be seeing a general 2 to 4 inches with some locally higher amounts towards the lakes where you get that lake enhancement closer to 5 inches, maybe 6 inches in some of those more persistent snow bands. So that's what we're looking at across much of the area with that clipper system. Let's look at the latter portion of the weekend into early Monday in general. We'll be looking at another clipper system moving very fast, but it'll spread some light snow across portions of the Great Lakes and northern Ohio Valley, and then you get into New England and the Mid-Atlantic, and we'll have light snows, nothing terribly heavy, but we'll be looking at, once again, let's take a look at these snowfall amounts here. Be looking at a general 2, maybe 3 inches, possible some areas up to 4 inches, and there'll be some of those more isolated areas. I'm not looking at much coastal development with this system. There will be maybe slight, but for the most part, this system should remain quite tame as well. Now, heading on towards next week, we've got a lot of questions about what that system next week could possibly do. It's way too early to get into that for now because a lot of models aren't hinting at it yet. The Canadian is and the Euro is, but they're kind of back and forth along the southeast coast of the United States and then spreading snow further north into eastern Virginia and heading up towards the eastern mid-Atlantic. So it's spreading snow from the panhandle of Florida all the way up through the eastern portions of the mid-Atlantic. Right now, no one solution seems like the right answer, but I'll watch it here at MeteoMark. As always, I'll leave you with this familiar map of the polar vortex. This is exactly what we're going to be stuck with for quite some time, so get used to it. It's going to do it here at MeteoMark. Don't forget to like me on Facebook, MeteoMark. Subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark.com. Here's a 5-day outlook for my hometown viewers. Binghamton to Elmira, and northern tier counties of Pennsylvania, including Scranton as well. Let's look at this. We head into the weekend. We start off a little bit warm, relatively speaking, 20s. Then we quickly go right back to reality here across the latter portion of the weekend. A lot of blowing and drifting snow on Saturday, maybe that 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of snow in the higher terrain. Those winter weather advisories are up and in effect. The latter portion of the weekend heading on into Sunday night and Monday, we'll have another bout of light snow. Less wind with this system. We'll probably look at another 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of snow out of this. But we'll keep those systems moving fast, and then look at this. We turn very frigid for Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be highs pretty much 5, 10, 15 degrees with lows way down there, well below zero. That's going to do it here at MeteoMark.